Hello and welcome back to Payday 2 101. This is my new General Mastermind build for the post-Fugitive patch. This build is made to be easy to use for new players and to let players test out different play styles to see what they like. I'll be remaking every build video I've made since the skills have changed so much, so expect to see plenty of content. Before we get into the actual Mastermind stuff, let's cover the other trees real quick, just to get out of the way, as there's very little in all of them. I've basically just taken what I consider absolutely necessary in the others, since the Mastermind tree itself is so chock full of interesting skills that if you really want to learn the Mastermind skills in the playstyle, I feel like you have to have a bit of everything to really understand what you like for when you make your own build later. With the Enforcer, all we've taken is Aced Transporter. Again, as everyone knows, this is a mandatory skill to ace, no matter what your build is. Carrying bags faster and throwing bags farther, in a game that is largely based around moving bags in a firefight. For Technician, I picked up Nerves of Steel and aced it. There's a lot of people will try and debate whether or not this is mandatory. I would say at least the 1 point for Nerves of Steel is very important, especially as a medic who doesn't have Inspire yet, as you'll take less damage while you're helping people up. But also being able to use Steel Sights and Bleed Out does very much help you in things like killing snipers that have knocked you down so that other people can more safely get you back up. We have the mandatory Ghost skills, so of course we have Sprinter aced, so you're sprinting faster and dodge a little bit better. Cat Burglar basic, so you can fall from higher heights a lot more safely. Fast Hands aced, which is absolutely mandatory for the interaction speed with loot bags. That paired with Transporter is very, very important for moving bags quickly. And Shinobi basic, so that your walk speed and crouch walk speed are both increased. This comes in handy quite often. Now, we have the new Fugitive tree, which everyone's so excited about. The community as a whole hasn't come to a consensus yet on what is mandatory. So I'll give you my rationale on why I picked these skills I did. We have Thick Skin aced. Steadiness is increased by 10. There's a lot of debate on exactly what steadiness does, but it looks like it's mostly tied to hip fire accuracy, which is important. Might also have to do with stability, which is also important. The main thing here is when it's aced, it increases the armor of all ballistics vests by 20. Now this means it does not increase the armor value of armor unless it says the words ballistic vest in it, which means the heaviest armor that this powers up is the heavy ballistic vest, which is what you'll probably be wearing in this build anyway. So this will give you a little bit of much needed, very cheap armor attached to your armor without making it any heavier. This is really important. Duck and Cover is an interesting new skill, where on basic you have a 5% better dodge chance while crouching. It's not a movement-based dodge chance. And you get yourself up to 15% if you have it aced. I've tested this one quite a bit, and I find it to be very useful. The 15% you get is quite noticeable and very, very handy. And for basic, we have Run and Gun basic. You have 10% additional movement speed. This would of course apply to walking, crouch walking, and sprinting. And considering you will be someone with armor and you're not hitting that speed cap that you may with, say, a dodge build, I'll make one of those later, a Death Wish dodge build, that'll be fun. This extra movement speed will really come in handy with that heavy ballistics vest, combined with Sprinter and combined with Shinobi. You'll be moving quite quickly despite having decently heavy armor. But let's get on to the main attraction here, the actual Mastermind build, where 89 of the 120 points are put. Okay, we have a lot aced here, and there's some new skills, so I'll just go over everything. We have Endurance aced. This one's considered mandatory for everyone. Increases your stamina by over double, and it helps the whole crew, although I believe the crew bonus does not stack, and since everyone will have it aced, you don't need to worry so much about the crew bonus, it's mostly that you'll have a lot of stamina. We have Combat Medic aced. A good thing to keep in mind here is that although it's very nice that you have a damage bonus, and that when you get people up they have 30% more health, which is quite big, keep in mind that on Death Wish difficulty, Combat Medic aced does not work. These general builds are meant for Overkill difficulty and lower. I'll have specific builds put up for Death Wish difficulty, as there are a lot of things that change the game. So just keep in mind, the ace bonus where you get extra health, or the person you help up gets extra health, does not apply to Death Wish difficulty. We have Cable Guy aced, so that you have a total of 6 cable ties, remember. every single person you tie up delays the initial police assault by 10 seconds. If everyone on your team has 6 cable ties, and you have enough hostages, you could delay the assault by a whole 4 minutes. That's a long time. Don't think you'll find a map with that many civilians, but it helps to have all those cable ties with everyone. Next, we have a new skill. Control Freak used to be up here, now it's being combined with Inside Man, where Basic is the aced version of Control Freak. Civilians stay intimidated 50% longer, and noise created by you intimidates civilians. This means you could fire an unsilenced gun into the air and everyone will get down. It used to be not worth it because it was so expensive to get, but at one point it's quite nice now. And on Aced, you have special Inside Man assets. And some people like to debate whether or not this is worth it. It's definitely worth it on Death Wish, as it lets you get the Expert Driver, so you never have an escape mission, which is a big deal. I cannot stress that enough, how important that Expert Driver is. But on missions like, say, if you're going to stealth Big Bank, having the poisoned cake that you get from having aced Control Freak now, or Inside Man as it formerly was known, that is incredible, because then you only need to kill one guard in the entire front of the bank, and just yell at the civilians to get down, and you're good. No one can get you in the front of the bank. So it is very much worth it investing those extra 3 points, I would say. Next we have Spotter. The basic is that special marked enemies take 15% more damage. This is not normally a very big difference. It'll rarely get you the kill on a shot that wouldn't normally kill them. It can be nice on bulldozers, especially on higher difficulties, but it's not huge. The Ace, however, has gotten the buff. Not only do you get the Spotter, who will spot and highlight guards on stealth if you purchase that asset, which is very good. However, you can now purchase a Spotter, and if things go loud, they'll mark special enemies for you, making it even more useful than it used to be. This means a Spotter is useful even if you're not going to do the mission stealth, which means that Spotter Aced is never a waste as long as you're in a mission where you can get a Spotter. This makes it really worth it. Next we have Equilibrium. It is same as before. You can take out and pull away your pistols 50% faster, which is kind of like weapon switching speed, but not quite as strong. Your accuracy goes up by 10%, which is a little noticeable on some guns, not noticeable on others, but it's a nice little thing. The main thing is that you're acing it, so you increase your rate of fire with pistols by 100%, basically ensuring that any given pistol you take, you're shooting as fast as you can click, which is very nice to have. And if you use the Striker pistol, the thing becomes a buzzsaw for killing bulldozers, as long as you're experienced enough to aim it correctly with its horrific kickback. We have Dominator Aced, and a good thing to keep in mind here, you can intimidate non-special enemies into hostage. They've changed the skill. It no longer makes it so your whole crew can intimidate enemies, only you can. This makes you even more valuable to the team having Dominator. On top of it, power and range of your intimidation is increased by 50%, which may not seem major, although it does help you get people to surrender. Keep in mind that what it doesn't tell you is it also allows you to highlight and spot guards or special enemies from farther away. That is very useful for the rest of your team. We also take Basic Joker. Although there is something to be said about acing Joker and Partner in Crime, that's more of a specialty build. With Basic Joker, you can convert police officers that you've gotten to cuff themselves by intimidating them, or cop buddies as we call them on the stream, and they will join you. They act as great meat shields. They don't do a whole lot of damage, they're mostly there to soak up damage, but it takes a lot of the heat off you, and because it counts as a hostage, if one of your guys go into custody and the police assault ends, the officer will cuff himself and you can trade him as a hostage, which makes it very useful. And plus, anything you can do to divert fire away from yourself when you're the medic is very important. Next, because we're the medic, we have Aced Combat Doctor. This means that instead of one doctor bag that has 2 uses, we have 2 doctor bags with 4 uses each. That is 8 uses of doctor bags total. And remember that unlike a first aid kit, new with Fugitive, a doctor bag does restore one's downs. Normally when you go down 3 times, you go black and white, or mocha as we call it on the stream, and if you go down again, you're instantly in custody. If you pick up a doctor bag instead of a first aid kit, it doesn't just heal you, it restores your downs. So There's very good positives and negatives to both the first aid versus the doctor bag, but if you're going to be hyping Mastermind anyway, you want the doctor bag. And remember, the most necessary asset to bring on a mission for equipment, the thing that is the most important is still well-upgraded doctor bags, because if you can't restore downs on the team, that is going to be your biggest weakness. So it is always still important to have one guy with really good doctor bags, even if you have someone with good first aid kits. And those two things can go together quite well. But that's the story for another video. To give us some synergy with Equilibrium, we have Gunslinger Aced. We reload our pistols 50% faster, which is substantial for meaning that you can just keep shooting and shooting and you're out of the fight for less time. And 50% more damage with pistols, also incredibly substantial. Gunslinger is a much bigger deal than Equilibrium, but they work very well together. We have Kilmer Ace, which is an often overlooked skill, although absolutely incredible. On basic, your reload speed with assault rifles and sniper rifles is up a whopping 25%. It may not seem big on paper, but when you start reloading with an assault rifle, say a Car 4, or you're reloading your Rattlesnake or R93, you'll realize just how much more time you're fighting rather than reloading, and how many more kills you're getting because of it, helping the entire team. And on Aced, not only is your weapon accuracy, when moving with assault rifles and snipers, up 50%, which with the Car 4 assault rifle, single-shotting while walking, hip-shotting the heads, the 50% accuracy bonus you get is absolutely massive, making you a death machine, but you can reload while you're sprinting. You can be sprinting out of the way of enemy fire, or even to cover or to the next enemy while you reload. That saves you an enormous amount of time that you would normally just be sitting behind cover, doing nothing. This saves you so much time and keeps you in the fray fighting enemies so much more often, again, helping the entire team. You are not just a medic, you're a combat medic, and Kilmer Aced is one of the things that ensures that. Lastly, we have, everyone believes it to be the best skill in the game, and I'm not disagreeing at all, Inspire Aced. Oh my god, Inspire Ace. If you're a new player and you haven't tried this yet, it is the best skill in the game. Basic itself is awesome. You can yell at crew members, mind you they need to be standing near you, but you can yell at a crew member and yell go. For 10 seconds, they're 20% faster. They can be carrying a bag, they can have a ton of armor on, they're now running 20% faster for a whole 10 seconds. You could do it as often as you want. There's only like a 3-second cooldown on it, something like that. Doesn't stack, but it's a huge bonus that a lot of people don't really take advantage of. Also, you get crew members up 50% faster. That means instead of taking 6 seconds to pick someone up, you only take 3. You're getting shot less while you're getting them up, you can get them up faster in a worse situation. Perfect. Combine that with Nerves of Steel, so you take half damage and get them up at double speed, you're way less likely to go down trying to help someone up. And Aced. You can yell at people from a distance, and yes, the distance is increased through Dominator Aced. You can yell at people, including through walls, floors, ceilings, anything. If they're within a certain radius of you, despite what may be in the way, you can yell at them, and there's a 75% chance they will instantly get revived. And if it doesn't work, you can just keep yelling until it does. It's a little bit finicky. Sometimes if you yell at someone and there's a special enemy near them, you'll spot them instead. Sometimes when you go to yell at someone, you'll yell hands up to a cop near them instead. It is a little bit finicky, but there's a reason it's considered the best skill in the entire game. Next, before we go into the usual weapon segment, we now have the Perk Tree. I don't know if you've noticed, but tier bonuses do not exist anymore. Instead, we have equipable perk trees. I'll explain it real quick for anyone new. We have, currently, at the time of recording this, we have 6 perk decks. You put experience points into this. Experience points, along with getting them, it'll also give you perk points, which you then put into unlocking these different skills in these 6 trees. These do not get reset with Infamy. They stack forever. You can ace all of them eventually, but you can only equip 1 per heist. Before you go into your heist, you go into your skill menu, and you can pick what one you want to equip. So you can only have 1 row of bonuses at the same time. So what row did I pick? I picked Crew Chief. Although you could rock a really awesome build with either Rogue or Crook as a medic. I'll probably be doing one of those when I do my proper Death Wish medic build. For the crew chief, or for the mastermind though, just for a general mastermind, we're definitely going crew chief. Keep in mind that every other bonus here, you'll see, starting here, here, I'm just blind. Every other bonus is identical across the board. That's something to keep in mind. So we start with brute strength, 10% more health, just a nice little bonus. Most people get dodge, armor, or health here. We have helmet popping. Everyone shares helmet popping, but it's the headshot bonus you used to get for being a technician. Now everyone can get it very easily, and it's a very important skill. This even makes the Car 4, which is generally considered the best assault rifle in the game, even better, because now you don't need to be a technician to be able to single shot, overkill difficulty, green cops in the head. Anyone can do it now. Marathon Man, you and your crew's stamina is up 50%. This stacks with endurance and is quite noticeable. It's very, very nice. With this, basically people aren't going to be running out of stamina unless it's very strange circumstances. We have blending in, which everyone has. It gives you 45% more experience on every mission, which seems like a lot. Just keep in mind, it's the exact same as if you were to have Fast Learner aced. Fast Learner is no longer a skill. We have Painkillers instead, which I think I forgot to go over, actually. Painkillers is when when you revive a crew member, they take a grand total 30% less damage for 5 seconds. It helps them get into cover or something if they're in a bad situation. Also forgot to cover leadership. On aced, your entire crew, all of their weapon stability up 50%. Massive. But anyway, this is Fast Learner combined with an extra point of concealment, which is okay, and when you're wearing armor, your movement speed is affected 15% less, which used to be a tier bonus for Ghost. Blending is awesome, although everyone gets it, so I'm not considering that a unique thing. We also have Wolfpack. You and your crew gains 15% more health. That would, of course, stack personally with your 10, so you're at 25% at this point, everyone else is at 15. Walk-in closet, you can bring the armor bag, which allows you to put down an armor bag so you're wearing a suit, and you can suit up in your armor during the mission. It's pretty spotty, no one really uses it right now, could be useful for stealth on Pro Job, but we'll wait to see if the community finds more good uses for it. For your unique one here, you got Testudo? Tetsudo? I don't know. Tetsuo. Is that Tetsuo? Tetsudo. Nah, it's not Tetsuo. Okay. Sorry, I had a moment there. You gain 10% more armor, and your crew gains an additional 5% more armor. Again, not major, but it is kind of nice with the health bonus. It's just a nice little thing. Fast and Furious, everyone gets this. Doctor Speed, interaction speed is up by 20%, which is weirdly noticeable. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it's noticeable. And you do 5% more damage, which is also noticeable on things like Death Wish when you're killing a Skulldozer. Everyone gets that one. In the rest of my builds, I won't go over helmet popping, blending in, walk-in closet, and Fast and Furious just because they're in every perk tree. I'll just go over the 4 unique ones. We have Hostage Situation, which is your big finale. You and your crew gain 2% max health and 4% stamina for every hostage you have up to 10, which of course means your crew can have a total of, if you have enough hostages, 20% more health as long as you keep an eye on those hostages. That's quite noticeable. It's not massive, it's not a game changer, but it's really nice combined with a few other things, especially if you have an enforcer on the crew maybe, with muscle. He can become quite indestructible, or armor in some cases. And for the deck completion bonus, every deck gives you the same completion bonus. You have a 10% chance of getting higher quality items for your card at the end of a mission. This could be infamous masks, or I believe even higher quality weapon modifications. It's a nice little bonus. It's mostly a vanity thing, but it is a nice little thing you get for completing any given deck. Next, onto the weapons. First, for the primaries, we have the golden standard of assault rifles, the Car 4. You can get it early in the game, it's very flexible with mods, and it retains an absurd amount of accuracy and stability while still hitting that incredibly, incredibly important 40 damage threshold for an assault rifle on single shots. I cannot stress enough how important it is, since a lot of people, this will be your first time seeing the show, because you hadn't seen the previous ones, as they are invalid now, as the game has been patched since then. That 40 damage threshold on assault rifles is incredibly important that you can hit, because that, with the tier bonus of headshot or helmet popping, you can one-shot green cops in the head on overkill difficulty and lower, and two-shot the tan cops. This is incredibly important, and what brings this assault rifle from a good one to an absolutely amazing one. So for the mods on it, we have the long barrel, the competitor's compensator, we have no custom on it. For a foregrip, we have the gazelle rail. For the gadget, of course, the military laser module, which fits very well in this gun, actually. Many guns, the laser will be in a bad spot, and you can't judge where it'll hit very well. It's in a good spot on the car for. For grip, we have the pro grip, although the rubber grip is just as good. For magazine, we have the car quad stack mag. If you don't have the DLC, you could pick the tactical mag instead, but the car quad stack mag, having that extra double ammunition in the clip, is very useful. For sight, I like to go with the speculator sight. A lot of other people like solar sight. I tend to use that on snipers instead. For stock, we're going war-torn stock. This is what will bring that accuracy up to that crucial 18. Remember, if a gun has more than 18 accuracy, there is no difference. Every point above 18 doesn't do anything. All you need to do is hit 18. And we have the exotic receiver, or exotic receiver, however you want to pronounce it. Next for primaries, we have the R93. Now, whether you want to pick the R93 or the Rattlesnake, I'll show off both of them, entirely depends on how experienced you are at both Payday 2 and FPSs. The R93, in this context of outside of Death Wish, is more so the beginner sniper rifle in that if you get a body shot and not a headshot, doesn't matter, you'll probably kill whatever you're aiming for. Its only real advantage outside of that is that it can one-shot shields if you get a headshot through the shield. Either in that, it has about half the ammunition of the Rattlesnake, and is all around not quite as efficient. As long as you can get those headshots, the Rattlesnake is probably a better idea, but we have no barrel on it. For the gadget, we have the angled sight, so that you can tilt it and quickly get shots from up close. For a sight, I like to go with the solar sight for sniper rifles, and for stock, we of course have the wooden body to give it more stability. So we come out with this beautiful, beautiful gun. Our alternative, of course, here is the Rattlesnake, in which we have the long barrel for the nice accuracy bonus, no suppressor on it, angled sight, we have the solar sight, and we do not put on the aluminium body because it increases concealment but lowers stability. You're only going to be carrying this gun on loud missions anyway, so that concealability doesn't matter. You want to retain the stability, and plus, the wooden body looks a lot better anyway. Next, we're on to the secondary weapons. Our secondary weapons as a mastermind are, of course, pistols. You may already notice if you've seen my previous build videos that wasn't very many primary weapons. I'm trying to really narrow down the weapons that I put to these builds now, so that people have a more concise idea of what they should be taking with them. We have the signature 40 pistol for this one. This is our standard pistol. It's a very nice one. We have the Velocity 40 for some accuracy and stability. We have the Pocket Laser. You could also take the combined module, which is a new one, but Pocket Laser's fine. For grip, we have the Ergo Grip, it's the only one. Extended Mag, which somehow does not increase concealment, still blows my mind, because it's huge. For sight, Pistol Red Dot Sight. And for the slide, we take the two-tone slide. The long slide's nice, but we don't need that extra accuracy. We're pretty good as is. You come out with this beautiful gun. It's great on ammo. With your bonuses, it's got quite a bit of damage. You have that increased reload speed, great accuracy, great stability. All around, this is a really solid secondary weapon. Our other choice for secondaries with this Mastermind build is, of course, the Bronco. We got a flash hider on this thing to give it even more absurd amounts of damage. This is the strongest pistol per bullet. We have the Bronco scope mount, so we can put a scope on it. We have the wooden grip for a bit of stability. For the scope, I put a speculator sight, although a solar sight would be okay on this. For a slide, if you are, say, a technician, you might want to take an overcompensating barrel just for the sake of accuracy, but we already have damage bonuses. We want to stack that as much as we can as a mastermind. We're taking the aggressor barrel and going hardcore into damage, and for upper receiver, the slimline body will give us a little bit more stability and concealment, not that that matters. And you come out with this beautiful, beautiful Magnum that does absurd amounts of damage. This used to be one of the strongest guns in the game, and even though it isn't quite one of the strongest anymore, it's still the strongest pistol. And as a mastermind, that matters. That's it for this episode of Payday 2 101. On the next episode, we're probably going to get into another new build video. If you're interested in this series and would like to watch more, a link to the playlist will both be on screen as well as in the description. This series is ever updating as patches change the game, so I'll keep you guys up to date. If you're looking for some teammates to play with you, why not join in my Steam group linked in the description, and if you want to keep up with me, I have my Facebook fan page and Twitter linked down there as well. Feel free to request I talk about anything in the game, as long as I don't already have a video on it in the playlist, and I look forward to seeing everyone's feedback. If you want to see some more Payday 2, click the video on the left to see my series Payday 2 A Journey, and if you want to see a different game, click the video on the right to see my current Let's Play. That's it for this video, thank you for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.